Well, hello there, and welcome back to Freeform Disney. I'm Jeremy, and hey, we are up for episode 6 of Bad Batch today. So, here comes one more. And hello there to Matthew Finn, who is over here with us. And whoever else happens to already be up and watching. As I said, not always sure who all you are, but hey, if you pop in the chat, I will say hi. Or hello there, as the case may be. So always feel free to drop on in. Even if you don't want to say much of anything more, that is perfectly fine. Always understandable. And just busy finishing getting everything ready over here. So, again, these haven't been dropping early yet, so probably 15 minutes until it comes. Although next week is my question. First time we have a question, right? Or is it the week after? It's the week after. Always mix it up. Next week Loki starts, but the week after that is when Luca comes out also on Friday. And there won't be any premiere access on that one, so you never know. Maybe. Will be interesting to see what happens right there. Okay. Got the hair down today instead of the hair back. Either way, get it one way or the other, right? Let's see. In case you are new, let me give the ever-popular usual spiel. I'll put it early this time. Sometimes I get to it late, just before we go all the way there. But hey, if you are new, then what's going to happen is you pull up Bad Batch over on your area, which is, as I said, I'll have mine up on Disney+. If you've got some other way of watching it, the more power to you. And then we'll go ahead and go sync up our watches. So I'll go ahead and count us on in. 3, 2, 1. And then I'll also have a timer up over my head, so that way in case something gets missynced for some reason or other, that'll go ahead and do it. And it's time number 6 for Matthew Finn here in that. And many more times in the future still to come. That's for sure. Oh, that is for sure. Okay, so Bad Batch. I thought last week was a bit of a return to form, which was nice right there. There was some interesting controversy that popped up after last week's episode, although it didn't seem like it ever blew up anywhere really big. Oh, and hello there to Maximilian. But there was an interesting little bit. And hello there to Jackson Thiel as well. But yeah, there was an interesting little controversy that popped up briefly. It didn't seem to pick up any traction. I mean, there's always that for one time. But anyway, it seemed after there was a big question. We had our new Rancor from last episode, right? Where we go ahead and had, oh shoot, what's our new Rancor's name? Moochie. But anyway, given how everything was done with Moochie, and given our propensity to go ahead and, shall we say, rewrite things that might actually currently even be canon, there was quite a bit of a question on whether that was meant to be redoing the past and being a bit of a retcon right there. And, well, it seemed okay, because, I mean, heck, sure, we can have Patissa, which is the name of the Rancor actually over in Return of the Jedi. And actually, one Rancor is male, one's female, too. Because Moochie's actually female, Patissa is actually male. Side point. But anyway, that was actually identified even in new canon here as being Patissa. So that one is not just old canon EU, but here in this. And then there was a spot where the writer of the episode actually made a comment that made it sound like they were implying that Moochie was the one that Luke killed over in Return of the Jedi. Although they later deleted their comments, so take it for what you will. As I said, there's no official confirmation one way or another as to whether it was meant to be a retcon, but the deletion of the only comment that implied that maybe it was seems to imply that not meant to be that. So that's good. Hopefully we'll go ahead and meet up with Moochie here in the Book of Boba Fett coming up here later at the end of the year, which would also finish putting to bed any rumor or any question on whether Moochie is a retcon of Patissa or not. But anyway, could it be that? Who knows? who knows? I mean, it's hardly like the show's unwilling to go ahead and retcon things that are in, no, say, books or comics. So hopefully we don't overly do that. But, I mean, it's certainly easily enough. I can easily see a world where Mucci also is there as well as Batista. So I don't see a problem with that right there necessarily. Let's see. Hello there to Geek Girl as well. Maximilian, you're saying that my hair reminds you of an episode of Firefly when River was frightened by the preacher's hair. Oh, interesting. Wow. I have watched Firefly, but it's been a long time, and I've only actually ever watched it once, so I got you there. When's the episode going to drop? Probably about midnight. So probably 10 more minutes is when the episode will drop, because they haven't been tending to drop early, so I'm not expecting it to, but you never know. Maybe. It is possible. I'm hoping we get to go ahead and see... wow, my brain is just out a little on names today. I don't know why I'm losing Omega's name of all things, but hey, just because I did. But anyway, hopefully we get to see Omega use her Zygerian crossbow over here in this next episode. We've got things from the trailer. We know she uses it, and I mean, this makes sense. So that's one thing I'm hoping to see this time. I'm always hoping to see Rex, but I know that I might have to wait a little bit longer on that one still. We'll see. See what we see, right? And dreading seeing, well, Wrecker, when he actually gets that chip going ahead and activating. Yeah, definitely dreading that one coming. It's 1:50 for you, though. So at 2 in the morning for you. Midnight Pacific time, which is why it is what time it is for you, because with Disney based out of California, therefore in Pacific time, that way it ends up being midnight Pacific. And because of daylight saving time, that actually means it screws around with an hour depending on what time zone you're in. You might not even be in one that actually has daylight saving time or not. But it will change later on this year when daylight saving time hits again. So then when everything releases, will shift by an hour if you don't have daylight saving time. So all kinds of fun stuff. But yeah, either you have to remember what time it comes out on your time zone or convert over from Pacific time, just because Disney's based out of there. So yeah. Which, that says the same kind of case for things like Netflix as well, also based out of California, so same idea. Same idea with that midnight Pacific time release. Maximilian, you're saying you miss arcs. Now you think, yeah, the 4-episode story arcs were generally really good over in Clone Wars. I have to say generally, because sometimes, especially early on, the 4-episode arcs, because it was TV-based, not streaming at the time, meant the episodes all had to be a certain length, which means you don't get the ability to shorten or lengthen an episode based on how much it really needs to be, so that can be problematic. And also, then sometimes making it a solid 4 could sometimes stretch it out more or condense it too much. But in general, I agree with you that getting to actually spend that much time in an arc was really nice and a good shift and change. So, yeah, I'm okay right now here, though. A lot of shows do this kind of thing where they don't have as much arc for the bigger arcs early on, where they'll be a bit more episodic as they're setting things up, getting to know the characters, getting to know the world, even though we're in Star Wars, so it's not like we don't know the world, but you see us jumping all around the galaxy right now, establishing what things are like here, seeing planets we haven't seen within TV and movies yet either, for that matter. So, yeah, we'll see where it goes. I'm guessing there will be more arc-ish kind of things, and especially because of how the first episode worked. I mean, we started on a 70-minute episode right there, which is the equivalent of being, pretty much 3 episodes all together right there. So it's like we had a 3-episode arc right off the bat, but better than a 3-episode arc because it didn't have those breaks that would have been a little more unnatural. So yeah. Let's see. Oh, hey, hello there to Fairmond. Too many 4-episode arcs throughout a season means there will be lesser stories told. Yeah. It's too inflexible sometimes if it's all 4-episode arcs. But at least streaming gives a little more ability to shorten or lengthen episodes. But again, I don't like it all being 4-episode arcs because not everything should be one. Sometimes it should be a 2-episode arc, and that's really all there should be to it. Or heck, maybe it needs 5. Point being. And hello there to Matthew Griffin. Let's see, hope you see Crosshair this episode. Me too. It's been a few now since we saw Crosshair back in the 3rd episode at this point. So this would be 3 more episodes later, so we might be able to jump over to Geonosis, spend a little time over there as well. That would be nice. I agree. I do agree. Let's see. Do I think they'd ever do an anthology Star Wars series like Black Mirror or Outer Limits? Oh, that's interesting. We do have Visions coming up, which could be interesting as to what that does. That feels like it's going to be anthology related, although short. It's only a certain number of episodes. And we don't have the details exactly, but I'm wondering if it will be a little more anthology-like. I think that's kind of the direction it's going. I don't know if it'll keep going, though, beyond just the one season they're doing. But yeah, I said, no, I think they certainly could. The better all the streaming shows do, the more room there is for shows like that. And I would love to see things. I'd love to experiment. Have our what-ifs in there, too. So yeah, hopefully. Here's hoping. Do I know how many episodes are going to be in the season, Jackson? 16 is what I have heard. I don't know that it's actually ever officially been stated by Lucasfilm or Disney. But I have heard 16 as a pretty well confirmed number. So, yeah. 16 is the number I know. Now, as to how long they are, I don't know. I mean, for all I know, episode 16 could be another 70-minute episode, which, when you pair that with the first one, it would be kind of like we had a 22-episode season if they did that. So, hard to say. But yeah. Hey, I mean, I'll take 16 episodes if we get 70-minute episodes sometimes. I'm good with that. And I was really worried we get actually a much shorter season, too. Maybe like 10 episodes or something. So getting 16, hey, right off the bat, I'm happy with that. And that's definitely, not one of my worries were. I was worried it would be a little shorter and definitely not what I wanted to see. So seeing it pop in at 16, heck, with one of them already at 70 minutes, I'm pleased. I'm definitely pleased. Okay, we look like we are down to the last few minutes here. Does not look like it's dropping early, so it looks like we're a couple minutes out from the hour right now. So should be coming up pretty soon. Let's see, Maximilian, you think it's an amazing show and such wildly different runtimes? Oh, yeah. I think that is one of the real advantages of streaming services. Well, there are a number of negatives in terms of how they've impacted shows too. Don't get me wrong on that at all. But one of the giant positives is being able to shift that runtime. Because if you listen to commentaries or listen to the executive producers or the directors, etc., talk about what gets cut out of shows, usually the first thing that drops when you're talking action sci-fis and that kind of stuff, the first thing that drops usually is the character stuff. You just don't have time. The action, the plot has to go ahead and take the priority in the episode. So when you have to get it down to that 42 minutes for an hour-long show or something shorter for whatever show, that's what drops first. And if you could have just had to be 2 or 3 minutes longer. I'm not saying don't cut it down at all, because, again, the editing process is important. It's important not to just have your first draft out there, but to actually cut it down and pare back until you really get that core of what's good. So that process is always good, regardless. But it's when you had that arbitrary 42 minutes instead of being able to be 47 minutes or 45 or whatever. Or heck, being able to be shorter so we don't have to add fluff to the episode. So yeah, huge positive piece about streaming. If I were to talk about the negatives, my negatives are sometimes it would be nice to have seasons that were a little bit longer. I miss longer seasons of certain shows. And also, it seems a lot of the shows seem to get cut early for streaming services. Oh, say 3 seasons or so. Looking at Netflix, amongst others. And that I'm sad about. I miss the big shows that could keep going. I mean, heck, still we'll go find some older show and dig into that sometime. And they're so much bigger because they have longer seasons, long episodes, and they go on and on. And here we go. We have episode 6 is up. It looks like it'll be our shortest episode yet, because it's officially clocking in at 24 minutes and 22 seconds. So everybody go ahead and get your episode up and ready. I'm going to go with my headphones on. Tell me if you're having any problems with it right there. So let me know in the chat if you're having any problems getting the episode up. Looks like I'll see you later, Maximilian. So I will catch you later. I think I've said hello there to everybody who's in the chat. Yes, I think I have. Okay, so everybody go ahead and get that on up. That way we will get the episode started, get it rolling. Apparently this one is named Decommissioned. That's an interesting title for you right there. Interesting. Okay. I'm not seeing anything in the chat, so I'm assuming everybody has their episode up and ready. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and count everybody on in, and we will start into episode 6 of Bad Batch. Okay. On 3, 2, 1, go. Alright, here we go. I go to Lucasfilm Limited. I wonder when they'll update this eventually. I mean, it's pretty versatile and can handle a lot. But there's a time, maybe in another few years after we've had a lot of shows going and whatnot, that I would be curious to see if it gets updated. I'm always amused by how short the Bad Batch title sequence is. And that there's a skip intro every time. We do like our seedy underbellies of cities, huh? Speaking of that Zagurian crossbow. Eesh. Man, takes some work pulling that back right there. Makes you think about the real bow and arrow too. Love that we got Sid right in here off the bat. Oh, hello there, Finn. Oh, that's too bad to hear right there. Welcome back there, Matthew. Matthew Finn versus Finn Treacher. Yes. I'm liking Sid. I mean, she's not wrong that that's one of the important parts right there. And one. And if we're referencing that one, well, it's still alive and will be alive into a much later time period. Love the droids. Yeah, some CIS action, indeed. Nicely animated. The sounds were on spot, too. So who's going to translate everything over there on the side of that? Someone's going to do it. You know, all of this time we have not brought in Wrecker's Fear of Heights, I don't think, within Bad Batch of the show, right? Or no, maybe we did do it once. I mean, we brought it up in the arc back before in Clone Wars, but not something that's come up much here. Just kind of a brief bit of that. It's a nice touch just to keep that alive in there. By the way, speaking of our world building, watching the droids get destroyed, melted down. Look at those super battle droids back there. I mean, eventually when she gets good at that crossbow, then her being off at a distance will be all the more the point, especially from a high vantage point somewhere. Oh, that's fun looking at this. Hey! Weren't we referencing the sisters just a little bit back? Someone brought up the sisters. The other. Speaking of bringing characters back in, Martinez sisters, aren't they? Nice. Little. Oh. Danger indeed. But yeah, seeing Trace and Rafa again, that's cool. Just saying. Which is kind of our beginning of seeing other mercenaries, really, right? Back to some of the others we'll see probably during the course of this show, too. So here's a question. Who would Trace and Rafa be working for? I guess I should say, for anyone not in the know, the Bad Batch were first introduced in season 7 of Clone Wars, the first 4-episode arc of it. Then the Martez sisters here, Trace and Rafa, were introduced in the second 4-episode arc of season 7 of Clone Wars. Ahsoka ran with them for a little bit. Go Omega. One thing this show continually does, it does a good job of making everyone useful within here. Neil would come back in later. Poor Wrecker. I just took another hit to the head, huh? Not good. One of these hits to the head is going to finish activating it, no? Yeah. Can't say you didn't hear that. Soldiers. Man, it's happening already. I thought we might have another episode still first. Yeah, gyroscope. And hello there, gyroscope, while I'm at it. Follow orders indeed. Yeah. In case you don't know, the Martez sisters said that'll help give you that introduction to them. Hello there, Kevin Robert. Yep. Pushed it a little late there. But yeah, my guess, we'll probably get to see Trace and Rafa pop back in a few more times over the course of Bad Batch. Just in the whole course of other mercenaries. As my guess, also my hope, really, too. Because I'm hoping we really get to see a lot more of our scum and villainy here, which I think we will. Ba-dum-bum. Good old signal boosters, a little spike to plug in while you're at it. Just got all the tools of the trade, right? Yeah, Rafa would. Here we go. Yes, of course, we're going to get that a little bit too. Orders are orders. There we go. I guess I'm the captain now. Oh, anyway. Well, on the plus side, it saved your life, I suppose. There's that. Watching the droids come in. Nice. Oh yeah. Series is definitely good so far. Definitely. Interesting. So they're not exactly going mercenary. Impressive. Yeah. Oh, I wonder who the contact is, too. I imagine we'll hear a little more later. Nice to see the Martez sisters continuing to have been more involved. And they started more as mercenaries at the beginning of that arc and seemed to care a little more. Although, in fairness, Rapha was always the one that was a little more toward the mercenary side of the two of them. Ah, now we get to see. So is it going to be Saw or someone else? Yeah. I'm assuming Saw. So have to look at the uniform there and compare that to what Saw was wearing the other time, but Kevin, you're watching this. What do you expect, man? Don't be watching this if you're not going ahead and watching with, or if you're not okay with hearing that. Further, I don't even know if it is Saw. But anyway, nice to see the Martez sisters back in. And my guess on them being more mercenary, obviously not correct here in this case, right there. So they have definitely joined our Proto-Rebellion. And again, at this point in time, as far as talking about Proto-Rebellion, Saw is by far the big piece in that. He was the first to go ahead and do much. So it is possible to be somewhere else, but Saw is the likely answer. Oh, side note, seeing Corellia outside of Solo, I don't think the movies and shows have gone to Corellia. I could be wrong. I'm trying to think of it, but I don't think outside of Solo we've seen Corellia actually in, well, live action or animation, I should say. 10 out of 10, the Droid Gang, indeed. Agree, Jackson. It was really good. I definitely really enjoyed this one here, too. And yeah, it looks like we're going to push off at least one more episode on Wrecker right there. But, oh, man, if we haven't gone and fully laid the groundwork now, in case we weren't noticing it beforehand. Ooh. Oh, it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt when that happens. That is for sure. So, yeah. I like how, again, we're continuing to expand the world. Sure, maybe there's a part of me that has an issue with continually jumping all around the galaxy. But whatever. That is whatever, and, you know, it's nice to see the galaxy nonetheless. So, yeah. Nice to see the things with Sid continuing. So, I actually thought it would be more... I thought we might even have an episode in between, and then they'd come back to Sid because they needed money or something else of that nature. As it is, it just pretty much continued straight on. It'll be interesting to see how long till they really accept being mercenaries. Now, the blurbs and the talk about the show were about them being mercenaries, which is interesting, being that we also have essentially our Proto-Rebellion piece and Saw Gerrera in here, and the Martez sisters now, who are also connected in that way. So it'll be interesting to see what they choose to do and how these different sides and different options they have all play out. And, of course, soon we're going to have to go ahead and deal with Wrecker. Soon indeed. Hoping for Rex soon. Yes, indeed. Although I'm going to assume that's going to happen after Wrecker fully goes down here. Yeah, no worries, Kevin. No worries. But yeah, definitely hoping to see Rex soon. I mean, hey, I'll take Rex whenever I can go ahead and see Rex. And Ahsoka whenever we can see her, because we're going to see her at some point, because it's Dave Filoni, and Ahsoka has to just pop up. Just for an episode or two. I mean, we can't use her much, because she's way too powerful for our Bad Batch. But they'll be here somewhere. I agree, Pheromon. Definitely hoping they meet Boba Fett, 100%. Hoping we get our Boba Fett Cad Bane fight in here at some point. And yeah, I agree, Jackson. We do need an update on Crosshair. See how the training's going back over on Camino. See more, hopefully more of the clones, training their eventual replacements too. Just see how that's working. So right now it seems to be aiming at the elite, but eventually it'll carry further and further. Yeah. Who knows? Maybe we'll even see the beginnings of certain projects around Geonosis for that matter. Yeah, let's see. Saying 95% of the trailer footage after this show. Yeah, I said, yeah, pretty close. I mean, the stuff that's directly related to Rex feels like most of what is missing. There's not like a lot of other stuff that isn't in there yet, I don't think. So yeah, I agree. Top of my head anyway. Yes, Jackson, Death Star around Geonosis indeed. I'd be surprised if the show doesn't make any reference to it. It'll have to be an oblique reference. Either that or the Bad Batch would have to, it'd have to be near the end of Bad Batch and they would get killed and not find out. I can see an oblique reference. I'm impressed that really for this episode, there wasn't much in the trailer at all for it. I'm trying to think of what was in the original trailers for this one. And I'm not pulling anything off the top of my head, which is interesting too. Certainly, it could have teased some of the characters coming back, but I'm not complaining that they didn't go ahead and tease the Martez sisters were in there, so I'm okay with that. Nice to have surprises in there too. A second half of the season where big stuff happens, yes indeed. We've been laying lots of groundwork here so far in these first 6 episodes. And I'm guessing we still have more groundwork to keep laying. But we've been starting to lay the groundwork of them as mercenaries, laying the groundwork with Fennec Shand as well, laying the groundwork with Crosshair and what the Imperials are up to, laying the groundwork now with what our Proto-Rebellion is doing with Saw Gerrera, and I'm assuming the Martez sisters are directly connected to Saw. So yeah, agreed. Lots of big stuff yet to come, that is for sure. The clip where they're under the cargo ship was in the trailer. That's a pretty oblique reference, to be sure. Yeah. Okay. So, next week will be episode 7. Will be one spot further and one spot closer as far as everything's concerned. And let's see. Big predictions for next episode. I think next episode is a big Wrecker episode. So I don't think Rex is coming in. Rex will be, let's say, 3 episodes from now. 3? Well, okay, if the season is 16 long, my guess more recently, has been Rex popping in for the mid-season. That's episodes 8 to 9 right there. That seems about on track. Because next episode will be heavy Wrecker, probably. Then we need to run into Rex all the more after that. So that hits for outright for hitting episode 8, or say the end of episode 8 for running into him, or something like that. So I think that's my guess there. As to where we'll go, my guess is we'll take some kind of other mercenary action from Sid. We'll send them off on that planet, and then things are going to go bad with the Wrecker over there. And I don't think we'll see Crosshair next episode. I think we're going to spend all of our time focusing in on Wrecker. Although, it could be interesting to juxtapose Crosshair against Wrecker and his chip really fully taking and activating and taking him over. So I can see both. That's probably my guess for where we're going next time. I think the Saw Gerrera thing and the Martez sisters, as far as knowing where to find the Bad Batch, I think that'll wait a little bit. I think that's a seed for a few episodes down the line, probably not next episode or the one after. So there's my predictions right there. We'll see how much I'm correct or not. I have no idea whether I will be or won't be, though. Not yet. But it seems a fairly decent guess. Let's see. Bad Batch versus Boba Fett. Well, in that case, one would assume Bad Batch. Now, admittedly, our Bad Batch is a bit of a mess at the moment. I mean, we've lost Crosshair. Wrecker, we might be losing him here shortly, so I'll grant that. But assuming equal ground on each side, because again, both sides are ones that would certainly check out the other side. But I'd go Bad Batch at the moment. Again, it depends. And again, also, let's talk about the fact we're talking about Boba Fett at this age right now. If we were talking about Boba Fett, let's say a decade later, now that's a different matter right there. Or say 10, 15 years later, that's a very different Boba Fett. But Boba Fett right now? Yeah, Bad Batch easy. Quinlan Voss could be the contact. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, I like that. Yeah. We could definitely go with Quinlan Voss. He's one of the interesting question marks for Jedi that we haven't gone ahead and said what happens to him necessarily with Order 66 and further. So definitely, that could be very interesting. Yeah, I can definitely see that as a possibility. Very interesting. Heck, you want other possibilities? What if we bring in the Mandalorians via the Martez sisters? We could do that too. Because the Martez sisters did run into the Mandalorians, Bo-Katan, over at the end of their arc when Bo-Katan went ahead and came to go find Ahsoka. So we could bring them in too. So yeah, there's a few spots to go ahead and go for them. Interesting. Not that the clothing looked right for that, I don't think, but but yeah, it's interesting thinking about a couple other possibilities in there and wondering where it might be going. Always nice to see there are multiple possibilities. I mean, heck, other threads that are still waiting and sitting open, for instance, are who exactly, whether, say, Boba Fett was the contact for Fennec Shand, for instance. I still have that question, whether those two are already working together and then, well, in turn working for whoever else. Let's see. Yep, Omega versus Boba Fett. Din Djarin would be a teenager. I'm not sure why Din Djarin popped in here, but yeah, Din Djarin would be pretty young and wouldn't matter too much at this point. I mean, I'm sure we could pop him into the background or something if we really wanted to, but yeah. Now, Din Djarin would be a little young and not super interesting to bring in here. Let's see. Oh, and if we're really still doing verses, I mean, Boba Fett easily beats Omega at this point in time. Again, Omega in another season? Well, that might be a very different matter. But Omega right now? Yeah. Okay. So, I think, unless anybody else has anything really interesting to go toss in the chat right now, I think I am going to go ahead and take on off. So, with all of that said, everyone, thank you for joining me so much. I enjoy having y'all in there, and hey, we had a good bunch of us in here, and definitely always fun interacting with all of you, getting to interact with whatever questions or theories or ideas you guys all have too. So definitely I enjoy that. And hey, if we come back next week, we'll go ahead and do it all over again. And actually, speaking of things coming up, if you're into the MCU side of the world, Loki starts next week, and both Natalia and I will be going ahead and doing those. So feel free to join the two of us on that. Well, anyway, moving right along, I am going to say to all of you, you've heard it all before, since I think all of you I have seen before, but if you're new, it'll be new. So there. But anyway, to all of you, go ahead and have a magical day, or night, or evening, whatever time it might be for you. And may the Force be with you always.